All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akiman who pushing this gospel in truth and in sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, fall upon all your houses. This is the brother Quanah Watts from the Arizona Great Millstone Camp. Come back at you, Lord will, with that edifying lesson through the spirit and power. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord will. It is edifying, Lord will. It is straight to the point. Hey man, this place has got to fucking go. You know, I came across this article on peoplesvoice.tv, and it says Ohio hosting disturbing MAP's conference teaching the P-files to self-accept and affirm their SI, and I'm trying to code word it, man, so they don't take this down. But this ultimately right here, right, is evidence, right, of Esau's wickedness, man. It says, behind the banner of inclusion and of affirmation, a highly controversial conference is taking place in Ohio this weekend, training licensed therapists to treat P-files attraction not as a disorder to be addressed, but as an identity to be embraced, which is fucking bullshit, man. This is straight up wickedness, right? And by seeing this, man, we know who's in charge, man, right? Because as it says in Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? And we know that who has power right now is the Edomites. Well, it also tells you, right, in Malachi, the matter of fact, let's grab that real quick. This is Malachi 1 and I think it's Malachi 1 and 4. Yeah, this is Malachi 1 and 4. We'll just start at the top. It says, the burden of the word of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob, right? Which, ultimately Jacob and Israel, right, are interchangeable, right? When, Jacob, wrestled the angel, and ultimately got his name changed to, Israel. Right, which I can think, you can read that in Genesis 35th chapter around the 10th verse, right? So this is ultimately talking about Israel, right? The Israelites, man, right? We read it all throughout the scriptures. Yahweh Shemel Shai is only for, right, Israel, Jacob. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today, as well as the Israelite foreigners scattered throughout the world, man. He ain't for any other nation, And you can read that in Psalms, 147, right, verses 19 and 20, right? It says, and I hated Esau, there you go, right, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom, verse 4 says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts. And see, Esau has, right, going back to the, the Renaissance, right, the rebirth, right? Esau coming back into power, right? And coming back up, man. And now we see where he's at, right? Again, he's in control, of really the world, if you will, man, right? It says, they shall build, but I will throw down. And we see Yahweh Shemel Shai tearing this place down, right? I'm tearing America up, man, right? Esau's bread and butter, right? It says, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, right? This right here, again, proving Esau, Edom, right, according to the scriptures, right, is the border of wickedness, man, right? And again, right, beginning with our elder apostles of Great Millstone on down, right, even their elders, on down, it has been identified who the wicked is, right, who Esau, Edom is, and it is the self-proclaimed so-called white man today, right? We see that, right? We know this, right? And it's been proven, it's evidence, right? We believe that through faith, man, according to the scriptures, right? It says, and the people against whom the Lord Yahweh by Shemel Shah hath indignation forever. The Lord hates Esau, Edom, man. Why? Because he's wicked. He's evil. Right? We see it today. Right? Look at this shit, man. You know, having a host or a conference. They're hosting a conference, right? To ultimately try to continue to push that mindset or lifestyle, right, as something positive. Right? When that's, that shit's evil, that's wicked, man. You know? And that's ultimately something that, that the small hats, right, ultimately believe in, right? It's in the Talmud, right? So we know who's in charge. Even here in America, the small hats, ultimately when the videos came out, right, you can look this up, that Donald Trump, when he became president, I think it was like 163 rabbis or something like that came and gave, Donald Trump, what is that silver crown that, according to them, where it was supposed to be, for the Messiah when he returns, right? Ultimately, basically crowning himself, God, man. But we understand that he's just a man, right? And Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, the true power, right, the one that ultimately set him up in power, right, is going to bring this damn devil down, man, because of the wickedness that is perpetrated here, man. By way of ICBM nuclear missile, right? Even Yahushua and the chariots, right, coming in, fully dethroning, Esau, Edom from that power seat, taking that power back, It says a Maryland-based nonprofit is holding the event from May the 2nd to the 4th under the title Demystifying and Thriving, Understanding the MAPs and Fostering Fulfilling Lives. It says, that shit's disgusting, man. It says the stated purpose of the conference is to equip mental health professionals to work confidently and affirmingly with individuals who are sexually attracted to minors. It says known in clinical terms as MAPs, or I'm just going to say MAPs, right? It says, according to a report by Kristen Button, it says the event is focused on promoting affirmative MAP therapy, a highly controversial approach, rather than seeking to reduce or manage a person's attractions to the M's, encouraging client to view their attraction as an intrinsic part of their identity, which is fucking disgusting, man. These damn devils gotta go, man. These devils gotta go, right? Let's grab this real quick. In Hebrews. 12 and verse 16. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. You see, these damn devils are disgusting, man. It says, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright, right? He sold his birthright. These motherfuckers is nasty. Let me grab this. I had this, no. Hold on, let me find it. Alright, so I found it right here. Right in one of my, I just had a screenshot that I have. Right, but this shows you right here, man. These damn devils are fucking disgusting. Right? It says, and this is from the Talmud, or quotes from the Talmud and the Bible being put together. Right? It says Talmud, right? You see on the left, the Bible on the right. And I want to drop down, or we'll just start with the first one, right? It says, approves of sodomy. It says, if one committed sodomy with a child of less than 9 years, no guilt is incurred, right? It says in the Sanhedrin 54b, right? This is something that's in a book, man, right? When you read in the Bible, it says, and just as you read on the screen, it says, prohibit sodomy. Thou shalt not lie with mankind, as with womankind, it is abominable. Right, man's not allowed to, that's roughly paraphrasing, right? That's, you're not allowed, a woman is not allowed to lay with a woman, a man is not allowed to lay with a man, right? That's wickedness. That's evil, man. Right? That brings forth death, man. And the Lord ultimately created us to bring forth life, right? That's why the Lord Yahweh Shem said, "What be fruitful and multiply," right? Bring forth life, right? That shit brings death, man. And this is why you see a lot of that death, here in America, man, right? It says, I want to drop down to the, where is it? Yeah, we'll just keep going. There was one I wanted. It's like the fifth one. It says bestiality condoned, right? It says women having intercourse with a beast can marry a priest. The act is but a mere wound, right? It says Yebmoth 59b. That shit's nasty as fuck. And this is why you see these Edomite women be doing that, man, with their dogs, man. When you see Edomite women with a big ass dog, hey, you best believe, man. And she ain't got no man, you best believe that shit's happening, man. These Edomites are fucking nasty, disgusting. That's just how they are, man. They're animals, right? Scriptures call them the vilest, the vilest of the earth, man. They vile, man. They nasty. Let's look that word up. Right here. Vile. It says morally repugnant, morally flawed, right? Corrupt, wicked, of no value, of inferior quality. It goes in. It goes in. That's why scriptures say what? Right? Again, as we read it in Hebrews, right? Profane, right? Let's look that word up too. I had that word up. Yeah. Profane. It says desecrate. It says treat holy things with irreverence, right? When you reverence something, right, you're ultimately showing respect, honor, right? And they do it right. They treat this, Yahweh Shem El Shai with they disrespect Yahweh Shem El Shai. Right? Right? They covered the faces of the judges thereof, right? They sat here and what is it? Iconoclasm, man. They made it as if the Most High, his son, right, and the judges and the prophets, were white like them. When there were Israelites, right? They're people of color. Right? As it reads in the scriptures, man. That's complete disrespect, right? Because lack of melanin in your skin, right, is a curse. It's called leprosy. So you're saying the Most High and his son, right, the angels, right, is white? Hell no. It says, I'm dropping at the bottom of the paragraph, it says unholy, not consecrated, right? These devils are these as it says right here, irreverent toward the Most High or holy things, right? As we seen, right? That we just mentioned, right? That's Esau, Edom. And again, see, this is why he's got to be destroyed, man. He's evil. He's wicked. Go ahead, close that out. Right? Let's go like this, because again, the Lord sees all this, man. The Lord sees everything that Esau has done, man. And he's going to reward him for such behavior, man. Right? The Lord said what? He will not at all acquit the wicked. Let's go to that. What is it? Right here. It's like it. Nahum 1:3. It says the Lord is slow to anger and great in power and will not at all acquit the wicked. Lord ain't gonna give this damn devil a pass, man. Yahweh Shemel Shai is not going to give this damn devil a pass. It says, like, Yahweh Shemel Shai had this way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. And see, we see Yahweh Shemel Shai, moving, right? As the scriptures say in Isaiah 29:6, thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with storm and tempest, right? Flame and devouring fire, earthquakes. And we're seeing all these different things happen. So the Lord is here. He's seeing it. He's making himself known, right? But see, the Lord is just like Esau works in gradualism, the Lord does too, right? Lord said that he will strike Egypt with plagues as before, right? When you look at the plagues that the Lord struck on ancient Egypt, right, it was in stages, just building up and building up and building up, right? And see, this is what the Lord is doing now. He's doing the same thing, allowing this damn devil to ultimately, to build up his pride to a point where, as they say in the world, right, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, right? Building him up so his fall can be great, right? Can be remembered forever. He's doing just that, building this damn devil pride up, man, right? Getting ready to bring his ass the fuck down, which he needs to go down, man. He needs to go down, Let's grab this real quick and probably jump to Revelations and close out. This is 2nd Esdras 4 and verse 28. It says, but as concerning the things whereof thou asked me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. Right? This place hasn't been destroyed yet, right? Again, the Lord is allowing it to build up, right? Allowing Esau's rap sheet to get bigger and bigger, man. And then he's going to bring it down, right? At verse 29, it says, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. And we know that Yahweh Shemel Shai promised to bring forth the kingdom, right? So this place has to go down in order for the kingdom to be brought forth. Esau has to be removed, and see, Yahweh Shemel Shai, is ultimately going to do that, He's doing it right now, right? Economically, socially, internationally, chasing this devil out the world, man, right? And ultimately, putting Esau in a position where his enemies, right, are starting to put themselves against him, right, against America, and they're going to shoot them ICBM nuclear missiles, the wasters to destroy on this place, and it's going to be obliterated, man. Revelations 18 and verse 4, it says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. And this is going to be said, right, when Yahweh Shai comes back, right? This is what's going to be spoken, right, in that Hebrew, right, to the Lord's elect, right? And they're going to be beamed up, right? It says that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And those plagues going to Zechariah the 14th chapter, right? Those ICBM nuclear missiles, which are going to ultimately disintegrate, right? Everything, right? Everything, right? It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities, man. And we read in, I think it's Psalms 109 and verse 13 on down, right? The Lord, is Esau, your sins are before the Lord continually. So he's always seeing everything that you do, right? He remembers everything you do, right? And you're going to pay for it, especially spreading this wicked ass, evil ass act, right? Lord is going to destroy you damn devils, man. Going to destroy your cash cow, right? Your substance, right? Here, America, right? And then you're going to be put into captivity, right? Beginning with Yahweh Shai coming and taking your crown, right? As we read in 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 24, it says, then cometh the end of what, right? The end of Esau, Edom's rulership, right? Second Esdras 6 and verse 9, right? Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. You know, because once Esau goes down, it's going to be a righteous rulership forever, right? Beginning with Yahushua, right? It says, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom of the Most High, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and all and power, right? And we know who's in authority and who has power, right? And who's in rulership. We know it's Esau, Edom, beginning with the elite banker families, right? Of Esau, Edom, you know, on down, right? They Yahushai, right? Even down to these other nations, Yahushai gonna come and take all that power, you know, from them. You know, it says, for he must reign till he hath put all enemies under his feet. It says the last enemy that shall be destroyed is death, right? Because we're going to be perfect. You know, Esau, you're going to be out the way and we're going to be perfect. And your afflictions are going to be grievous. You know, your afflictions are going to be grievous. You know, we can't wait for you damn devils to be put down, man. Call Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Fucking damn devils, man. Y'all going down, man. You know, but that's all I got, man. Lord will, you know, was edifying. Got to head out to the camp. You know, little pre-camp lesson, man. You know, get in the spirit. You know, but Lord will was edifying. Lord will, straight to the point. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem, Rachak Wadash, double honor to the elder apostles, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Till next time I say shalom.